In the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. And even if I lived to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. We thank God for life itself. What a blessing. So this is Brother Shareef with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Shareef Hamid. Subscribe and share to the channel. Subscribe and share. I greatly need your support to keep this channel going, so we can continue, so I can continue my effort to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. Today's message is called Exposing the True History of Christopher Columbus. Exposing the true history of Christopher Columbus. And I'm gonna give a short commentary on the Dove Soap controversy that's been lighting up Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever kind of social media outlet you can think of. It's been all over social media, and it's been going viral, this thing with the Dove Soap incident. But again, subscribe and share. Hour of Power. Subscribe and share the channel so we can keep the channel going, and so we can continue to connect with like minds and reach the mind, body, and soul of our people. So first, with this incident with Dove Soap. Okay, family, we should not be surprised by this at all. All we're dealing with is the children of our former slave master. Their thought process, their thinking, their concepts are almost identical. So they got this, this ad, some artist or whatever came out with this ad with a black woman with a brown shirt on. As the frames go along, she uncovers the brown shirt and then she turns white. Again, this is the thinking of our former slave master, and all we're doing is interacting with their children now. We should not be surprised at all. The solution to the problem or the issue, so to speak, is to simply buy black. You see this here? Shea butter mango soap made by black people. If you see a brother on the corner, what's one of our Muslim brothers from the nation, or a Hebrew Israelite brother, or just a brother in the community, and he's trying to make some extra money for himself in a righteous way, support him. And this is where you get your soap from. It's plenty products online, plenty businesses online that are black owned where you can get your soap. I go to a brother here in Durham. It's called African Land, and it's ran by a brother from Nigeria, my African brother named Utube, and he has all kind of products, soaps, oils, ancient African artifacts, necklaces, anything that you want that connects you to Africa, he has it. And if I have to go across town sometimes, I will do that to support him. Money talks. Economics is going to be the key to get us out of this condition we're in, but we have to support each other first. We got to get all these foreigners out of our communities who don't mean us no good and just sucking the life and the blood out of us. We can open up our own stores and produce our own products. We just have to support it. I'm not going to give no long dissertation on this. If you want to continue to support Dove Soap, that's your prerogative. I never supported them anyway. For years and years, this is how I cleanse myself with shea butter soap, and I always make sure I get it from a black vendor. Enough said. Enough said. One more thing though. Do you know, connecting on how, because I know that may rub some people the wrong way. Oh, there you go. That sounds racist. Number one, we can't be racist. We are only dealing with the children of our former slave master. Do you know one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence? His name was Benjamin Rush. He was also a psychiatrist, a humanitarian. I don't know where he got that title from, an educator, a writer. He was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence after 1776, named Benjamin Rush, out of Philadelphia. He's also in the DSM, which is the book of mental disorders. Do you know he said black people had a mental disorder that he made up called nigritude, and he said it made us lazy and shiftless and out of control. And the only way to cure this supposed mental illness is for us to become white. I'ma say it again. Benjamin Rush, a psychiatrist, a writer, an educator, and an author, and a signer of the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia in the 1700s, came up with a made-up mental disorder called nigritude. And he said, because of our black and dark skin, we suffered from this illness and disease, and the only way to heal the illness and disease is for us to become white, which is connected to the Dove soap ad that some of us are so bent out of shape and surprised about. For us to become white, they have the same thinking as their slave masters, as their forefathers, which was the slave masters of us. We're just dealing with the slave masters' children and grandchildren. Their thinking, thought process, and concepts are the same. Look how they're doing with this Colin Kaepernick issue. So you mean to tell me that kneeling or refusing to stand for the flag, however you want to frame it, is worse than murdering a man in front of his 4-year-old daughter and his fiance, talking about Philando Castile? May the Most High bless his soul and protect his family that is still here. So you murder a man that got a license to carry his permit. He's trying to tell you that he has the license. He followed everything. I've had a gun permit before, so I know the protocol. He followed the protocol. The man shoots him unjustifiably in front of his child, in front of his fiance, murders him. But the NFL owners, they're not up in arms about that. They're up in arms about someone who is following the law, exercising his constitutional right to peacefully protest, and they're all up in arms at that. And then the vice president left a game yesterday. The 49ers and the Colts game. Mike Pence left the game because he said he's not going to stand for this. But they have nothing to say about the unjustified murders of black men, women, and children. A 12-year-old boy, Tamir Rice, gunned down within 3 seconds of an unjustifiable police call. He was just playing with a toy gun in a playground. 12 years old. NFL owners, Jerry Jones and them, they ain't upset about that. They've changed the narrative to about unity and all this stuff. That isn't why Colin Kaepernick started this movement. So you're just dealing with the children of your former slave master. Their thought process and concepts are the same. Now, this Christopher Columbus. Millions of children all across America are off for a murderer, a rapist, a pedophile, a serial killer, and someone who has spread disease and famine across the world. One of the worst human beings has ever walked this earth. Christopher Columbus. Queen Elizabeth sent him to the New World, not to America. He never came to America. He only came to the islands like Jamaica and Haiti. Okay, he never came to America. Sent him on 2 expeditions. The first expedition was to see if the world was really flat. Who came with him? A bunch of thugs and criminals. And then the Moors, which means black. The Moors out of Africa helped him navigate his way because he had no damn clue where he was going. Came to the New World, which was like Jamaica and Haiti. Haiti. Came to those islands, never came to America, never came here, didn't know where he was. First he thought he was in India. That's why he called them Indians. No such thing. They're Native Americans. Native Americans and blacks and Africans were here thousands of years before Christopher Columbus thought about coming to the New World. How are you going to discover something that's already here? They were trading, doing business, and had high civilization. Where's the proof? I always bring my proof. Get this book. They came before Columbus. They came before Columbus by Dr. Ivan van Sertima. They came before Columbus, showing that civilizations called the Olmecs. Look at those African features. These are stone heads that they're still unearthing in Mexico and in America. 20 tons. Look at the broad nose and the thick lips. Big tons of these stone heads representing African features, and they're called the Olmecs. Civilizations that was here thousands and thousands of years before Columbus even thought about coming here. In 1492, we were here thousands of years. It's in that book. The Olmecs and the Native Americans were here high functioning civilization. How are you going to discover something that was already here and he never came here? Again, he went to Jamaica and Haiti. And what did he do? He had a bunch of thugs and criminals with him. And he was raping children, pillaging the land, poisoning the water, doing any despicable thing he could do to destroy the Native Americans. And when he went back to report, he actually went back in shackles and chains talking about Christopher Columbus. This is in his own writings because Queen Elizabeth said, I didn't send you there for that. So she had him arrested because his own people, the thugs and criminals, was telling on him. And he said, wait a minute, it's people there that are not armed, they're peaceful, and they can make us money. They can make us rich by free labor. So Queen Elizabeth said, yeah. So she sent him back on a second expedition, talking about Christopher Columbus. He starved dogs for 3 days on his way back to the New World. And once he got here, let the wild dogs run wild into the islands to rip apart and ravage the Native Americans. This is what this monster would do. Raping men in front of their wives and children, raping children, spreading disease and famine. This man was a savage, a terrorist, and he gets a goddamn holiday. The university's named after him. Almost every street, almost every city in America has a street named after this Christopher Columbus. Columbus Avenue, Columbus Street, the University of Columbus, and now a holiday in his honor, as if he was some kind of honorable man, when that's the furthest thing from the truth. And I was duped when I was in school. I had no idea this man was like this savage, because we've been lied to about our history. You got to teach our children history. And I have my proof here about how he used to rape children. See if I can find this article in here. Well, it's not an article, it's writings in Christopher Columbus' own writings. And he had a henchman with him by the name of Sweno. He was a man who traveled, a criminal who traveled with Christopher Columbus. Look what he said in his own writings that Christopher Columbus authorized him to do. This is in Christopher Columbus' writings and this man named Sweno's writings. Sweno said, I quote, I captured a beautiful Indian woman so I could have my way with her. This is Sweno talking. With Columbus's blessings, Sweno wrote, he took the woman into his cabin, and as she's being naked in her custom and culture, I conceived the desire to take my pleasure upon her. Sweno talking. I wanted to put my desire into execution, but she was unwilling to do so and treated me with her nails in such a way that you wouldn't believe. And I would have preferred not to begin, but seeing this, I took a rope in and thrashed her well, following which she produced screaming and wailing as you would not believe, and your ears wouldn't have been able to stand it. Finally, we reached an agreement. Oh, really? I can tell you, she seemed to have been raised in a venerable school of harlots. So now he's labeling this young woman a harlot because she didn't take on his advance of rape. And this is an underage Native American girl. He said when he thrashed her with that rope, she screamed and hollered like your ears wouldn't believe. He raped her. This is the first recorded rape in the New World. I'm going to say it again. The first recorded rape in the New World. I didn't say it was the first rape. I said it was the first recorded rape in the New World by Christopher Columbus in his own writings, in his henchman, devil, thug, and barbarian Sweno. Where'd I get it from? The Hidden History of Washington, D.C. The Hidden History of Washington, D.C. And it talks about how Christopher Columbus and his henchmen used to rape little children, spread disease, and had wild dogs that they starved for 3 days running into the islands to ravage the Native Americans. And this man gets a holiday named after him. A holiday? Are you kidding me? And our children are going around, our black children are going around believing this. This is one of the worst human beings that's ever walked this earth. He's never discovered no America. He never even came to America. I'm going to say that again. He was a thug, a criminal, a pedophile, and a serial killer and a rapist. And he gets a holiday named after him. Teach your children their history. More proof about he was instrumental in starting the transatlantic slave trade. Get this book by our great brother. See if you can see it there. Christopher Columbus, The African Holocaust by Dr. John Henrik Clarke, our great ancestor. Christopher Columbus, The African Holocaust. He talks about how this man was instrumental behind capitalism and the greed of money and free labor through slavery, starting with the Native Americans and then eventually with the Africans with the transatlantic slave trade. He is responsible for slavery first with the Native Americans and then the transatlantic slave trade as we know it today, the Middle Passage, the horrors in the Middle Passage. People, our ancestors packed into a slave ship that can only hold 200-300 people, 700-900 people in there, 3-4 levels. The bottom level may have been this high where you could barely even move your shoulders or move around. People in there screaming, hollering, brothers and sisters defecating and urinating on one another, sisters on their menstrual cycle, no water to clean themselves, no air conditioning or air down there, defecating, urinating on one another, scratching and clawing at each other, rats and roaches down there. It's called the Middle Passage, the worst horror in human history, in the annals of history. And this no good demon, this Christopher Columbus is responsible for the start of the transatlantic slave trade. And he ravaged the Native Americans in islands like Haiti and Jamaica and starved dogs for days so they can go and ravage and tear apart literally the Native Americans. And he gets a statue, streets named after him, marketplaces named after him, universities named after him, and worst of all, a holiday where our children get a day off thinking this man is some kind of saint. And he could be, that can't be further from the truth. We need to teach our children the truth. First, we need to know the truth, because how are the children going to know if we don't know? Sorry for my passion, but this really gets me upset. Salute to my Aunt Bernie there in Pennsylvania. She brought up the question, and that fired me up today to speak on this topic on the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Shareef Hamid, subscribe and share. Salute to my Aunt Bernie and salute to my Uncle Frank there in Pennsylvania. They support what I do. I love you. And keep hanging in there, and we're going to keep doing what we can, even if it's something small, to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people, and particularly our youth. If everyone does a little, no one has to do a lot. Always remember that. Never underestimate your power. Never underestimate your influence when you're trying to do God's work. Oh, I don't have a microphone in my hand, or I don't have a YouTube channel like Brother Shareef or Dr. Umar or whoever. Doesn't matter. If you lift the mind, body, and soul and educate one person, you've done a lot, because there's a lot of people out here buffooning and clowning and lying and practicing white supremacy and some black devils out here too that's taking us down. They need to be dealt with too. The white supremacy is the ultimate obstacle in our way to freedom, justice, and equality, because they have more tools to practice their racism. We're not racist. How can we be racist? We can't hold anyone down politically, educationally. We don't have the power to do that. So don't even use that word. So this is Brother Shareef with the Hour of Power, exposing the true history and identity of Christopher Columbus. And I also gave commentary on this Dove Soap Controversy. It's power and economics, family. Just buy the black soap. Support black business any way you can. Buy the black soap from Shea Butter Products. If you see a brother or a sister on the corner, and if they have a business, even if you have to drive a couple extra miles, support them. I don't got to give no long dissertation on this foolishness. They are the children of our former slave masters. They think the same. Their concepts are the same. They are showing it more and more with this idiot in the White House. He is giving them the floor and the courage and the boldness to openly show what they think about us. We should not be surprised. This is Brother Shareef with the Hour of Power. Once again, I thank those who have supported the channel, who have shared the messages, who have viewed it, and support me and what I do. I got some great interviews coming up with some wonderful people in our community who are doing work and who need more exposure and who deserve more exposure because of their great work and efforts in our community. So definitely look out for some interviews that I have with people all over this country who are doing great work to uplift the mind, body, and soul of our people. I thank you for listening. I thank you for your support. Assalamu alaikum to my Muslim family. Praise the Lord to my Christian family. Hotep to my Black conscious family. And what's good to you to my people in the street, and shalom to my Hebrew Israelite family. This is Brother Shareef with the Hour of Power. Subscribe and share. I leave you in peace as I came. Assalamu alaikum.